An army marches on its stomach, a phrase usually attributed to Napoleon, but it could have been Frederick the Great. Needless to say, troops need fed. The tooth-to-tail ratio is the number of military personnel each combat soldier needs to supply and support them. In the 1940s, this was a ratio of 4.3 tails to every tooth. Troops need a way to prepare and to eat food, be it large mobile kitchens, ration carriers to a position, or a personal stove. Different armies had different solutions. The British and Commonwealth forces, with their 1937 pattern mess tin, solid fuel Tommy cookers, or in the desert the Benghazi burners, a tin filled with sand soaked in petrol. Axis forces, with their Swiss-originated kidney-shaped mess tins. The Germans would issue dual 33 petrol stoves, or the Esbit solid fuel burner. And the Swedes, non-belligerent in World War II, but who did see military build-up with two aggressive neighbours occupying territory next to them. The Swedish solution was the M40 and M44 mess kits with integrated stove. This is an M44. It is aluminium, while the M40 was steel due to wartime aluminium shortages. You can tell the difference as the aluminium ones have two grooves, while the steel have one. Or you could just use a magnet. This one is unpainted. An explanation that I have seen is that they were painted after issue. This one is very clean, just wear and tear on it. Maybe it was unissued. Talking of cleanliness, their nickname is the Dirty Jar. I'm not even going to try to say it in Swedish. Probably due to how well they would be cleaned out and kept. The mess tin has 3 crowns, and this one has, I doubt if you'll ever see that on the camera, KPP underneath. The burner I have in this, I'll just take it out, it's in a Trangia bag, is made by Trangia, very difficult to see, 3 crowns, I'll put up a photo of it, 3 crowns and the older Trangia logo. I have other Swedish military burners. This one is a Svea from 1965. These are dated. They're almost the same. They'd also be issued with a fuel bottle, Rod Spirit, for the alcohol, 3 crowns. These would have probably been kept in an inside pocket. They did tend to leak. One trick was before filling to expel the air, fill it, and then put on that so that the pressure would be equalised and it wouldn't leak as much. Better off having it in the inside pocket anyway, just to keep it all nice and warm. I've added a silicone ring just to keep the burner off the ground, a GI style tin opener, which I have been told that a lot of people would carry, and Kuxa graded mug used by the Swedish military, and this one also has the 3 crowns on it. If you look at the burners, this one actually has a damaged lid, so I don't keep fuel in this, but it does burn very well. This one, I haven't actually fired it up. It needs a new ring. I have rings spare. You can see the hole in the bottom. This one would need a good soak, as it's probably not been used for years, just to let the fuel build up inside. But as you can see, there is a ring around the edge on both of the burners. This you could add fuel, light it, and it would work as a preheater, just as you have on a petrol stove or whatever, and that would help to heat up the alcohol in colder weather and you get a better burn. I'll just put this away and we'll keep the one that I'm going to be using out, the sphere. So on the lid, which can be used as a canteen cup, for small amounts of food, for soup, whatever, and for cooking, there are 2 rings that usually lie flat when it is stowed away. If you open them up, you can add a stick, or in this case a wooden spoon, jam it in, and that extends it for use over a fire or to stop your fingers being burnt when you're using it over the alcohol burner. Now we just put it together. I'll show you how the bottom bail works. If we can just, so that's quite a handy way to do that. If we put it all back together, you can see the top, the bail has 2 different connections. The top one is for hanging over a fire, and the bottom one is technically, I've never got it to work for me very well. You can jam it in there and it turns it into a handle. Not very good with my damaged hand and everything together, but it gives you an idea. It does work. This wouldn't have been used to hang off a belt or anything like that. The last thing you need is a load of clattering. I have it on good authority that these would be carried mainly inside the pack. The windshield stands were painted black after 1966. It's the year I was born. This one is genuine. It has the 3 crowns and it's dated 1967 and it's made by Svea. The windshield has 2 folding pot supports which you can lift up, put to the edge. They won't collapse, and they can support either pot very well. They don't jam, everything fits well, and you have no problem. The burner sits at the bottom. You can light it, stick that on. Once it's burning, that goes over the top. If, for example, you felt that there wasn't enough airflow, you can stick a couple of sticks underneath and that will increase the airflow. There was a time when burners, windshields, mess tins were all readily available when Sweden was getting rid of a lot of surplus stock after the Cold War ended. The windshield is usually available separately. I think there might have been more of them still available than the mess tins. The Trangia burners can be sourced from the Trangia web shop in Sweden, but the mess tins are very difficult to get. The Axis style kidney ones, some of them will fit, but not very well. It's a tight fit and it doesn't carry they don't slide all the way to the bottom. They just look very awkward. There's also a lot of reproduction ones on sale, which are reproductions. They're not genuine. They shouldn't be sold as genuine, but maybe some people do. And there's also copies of the windshield. This one is not genuine. If we compare them, there's an extra hole at the bottom. The holes are well shaped. It looks like an original. It's very well made, but it doesn't have any markings whatsoever on it. I think this is a reproduction. It was not sold as genuine. I only picked it up out of interest. This was carried by every soldier in the Swedish Army. Most didn't do any cooking on it. It was mainly used at the field kitchen. You'd go, you'd pick up your soup, your bread, pancakes, stew, whatever. If they were issued in the times before MREs, they'd be issued the small tins of food for emergency rations. And if that was the case, they would probably cook it up on this. So how does it work? Okay, we'll just move this out of the way. I'm not using the original fuel bottle, unless I have fuel in my Trangia. I'll just let that soak down a bit. Now, I like using this just to give a little bit of insulation and also protect the ground. As you can see, the fuel has gone right down, it's been absorbed, and what we would be doing, we'd light it with whatever, we'd put the cover, the windshield over there, and we'll just wait for it to bloom. We'll see how long it takes. Now you can use the Tatonka simmer ring if you're using this out in the field. There is enough room to put it on, but they didn't use simmer rings as standard issue with the military. And there it goes. Very fast bloom. Looks like one hole would probably need pricked. And it just fits on like so. And it can boil away. If you needed a quicker boil, you'd put it in the main mess tin and it would be able to boil faster as you'd use this as a lid. This is more convenient rather than taking everything out. As you can see with the lid for this, it's split the brass. I do have spare rings for these, which is handy. As you're buying old equipment and it's probably been sitting there for years. I don't tend to store any fuel in these anyway because they aren't a proper screw. It's a very simple screw fit and they do leak sometimes. And I wouldn't be really using this out in the field or out hill walking or anything, as it is heavy. It's just part of my stove collection. I'll just show you how it's looking at the burner. Very nice, isn't it? This will take maybe about 8 minutes to boil, so I'll cut away now and bring you back when it's boiling. And there we have it. You could say it's pretty well boiling. A lot of flame coming around the edge. And of course, because we do not have a simmering, it's very difficult to snuff this out. And it's flaming like nothing in there. So we'll just use the tonka and let that snuff it out. So I hope you enjoyed that little bit of information about the M44 Swedish one-man cooker. If you did enjoy it, give me a sub. Tune in next week and I'll have another stove for you to see. All the best. See you then. Bye bye.